Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's January 21st, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And a lot going on, Matt. The coordinator search continues. We got Elite Prospect Day coming to the U. God, what a lineup of prospects are signing up to be part of this, what essentially is a junior day, but just the coaching staff and the support staff and the program have done an absolutely amazing job of getting young high school players interested in coming to see the U. And I don't know how they're personally going to handle the volume of what they have coming into campus tomorrow, but that's a whole another issue. But before we talk a little bit more about that, I did want to touch on the coordinator search, because there's just been so much conversation and debate and people really like feeling punished by the fact that they don't know who the coordinators are going to be yet. And it's like the way that I see this is there aren't a lot of slam dunk hires out there. Okay. This isn't like, oh, this was going to be a 2-day process where you know who you want to hire as a coordinator, because there's no clear-cut favorites in that regard. So what Mario Cristobal has done is embarked on a very extensive search, and he could have been done by now if he wanted to be. He probably could have hired, just to throw out a name, probably could have hired Clint Hurt to be the defensive coordinator. Probably could have hired who should I use an example? Probably could have hired James Coley, for example, to be the offensive coordinator and things like that. If he was just looking to fill the jobs, he obviously could have filled the jobs a long time ago. These are coordinator jobs at Miami. They come with a potential 7-figure salary and are very appealing to a lot of people. What he has chosen to do is interview a lot. I know on offense alone, he must have interviewed already 10, 12 candidates at least. And though that's what I've been able to find out. This is a very extensive search. It's involving talking to a lot of different people, and they're very important hires, and he's treating them as such. And so in the last week, there, a couple of the guys that were known candidates literally for like 4 or 5 weeks. It looked like might have gotten tired of waiting or whatever. And there were reports that were put out that they were in the search. And then all of a sudden, the day later, there were reports put out that they had turned the job down. Okay. Now, obviously the job wasn't offered to 2 different people and turned down. And, I just wanted to explain to everybody that this is the type of stuff that typically goes on in coaching searches. Agents get involved. Any conversations become a vehicle to get coaches raises. Any appearance that a coach might leave a school becomes an opportunity to get more money out of that school. And it's part of the game that's played in the profession. And unfortunately, when it goes on and on like this, the fans get twisted in the wind, Matt, along the way. And you got to get what we're seeing. Debate is worry that Mario's not going to get a good coordinator and things like that. And it's just been a little crazy. So I thought it would be good if we took a couple minutes here at the start of Good Morning CaneSport this morning to address this issue and explain to people a little bit about how these things take place. And I want to give you your moment to speak about it, and then I'll go back and address a few additional things afterwards. But I don't want it to be like I'm giving a speech here. But
too late.
I do think it's an important subject, and that we talk about it a little bit so people understand what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's deluded into thinking Mario's handed out 10 offensive coordinator offers or defense coordinator offers. It's a perception thing. It's an agent thing. But listen, I have a much bigger problem I need to talk about. Personally, versus the coordinator. I'm sure coordinator is going to work out one way or the other over time. And my personal problem, Gary, is with you. Because you brought up this whole thing that this is an alligator. And now people on the website think I'm a Gator fan. So I want to make a statement about this, okay?
But so why are you torturing them and wearing it again?
Right. That's why, okay? Because I've been called many hurtful things in my life, Gary, including among the worst terms I've been called, stone crab mauler. I can't remember who called it. Do you remember who called me that, Gary? Somebody called me that horrible term.
You torture them, but go ahead. I want to get back to the coaching search. So go ahead, say your piece.
I am. If you give me a minute.
Go ahead.
Never have I been called a Gator fan before until I wore this shirt, and because of you. And everyone out there should know the difference between an alligator and a crocodile. Okay, but everyone knows what you do with a Gator logo when you see it. You stomp on it, you set it on fire, unless it's a shirt, and then you just do this. All right, you happy now, Gary? You happy? You got what you wanted? All right?
I love it.
You owe me $60, okay? You owe me $60. This is embarrassing. I can't wear that. I got to put on a different shirt. Hold on. That's embarrassing. I'll put on a different. I got a lot of these Lacoste shirts. This is.
Oh no! I hope you're going to cut this one up too.
So, oh, that's not good either. Hold on. This is the problem. I buy Lacoste shirts, okay? I wear Lacoste shirts. Everyone get used to it. It's Lacoste. It's a freaking crocodile, okay? It's a nice shirt.
No, I want you to cut up the
I'm
orange
not
one
cutting
too.
that out. Listen, it's 70% cotton, 30% polyester. It's the only dry fit that doesn't make my skin itch. Why can't I wear it in peace? For God's sakes, people. Now I have to wear Vineyard Vines long sleeve shirts because of you freaking people. God damn it.
Well, it's it's a shame that you did that because I had prepared.
And I expect $60. That's going to be on my expense report, Gary. $60.
I came prepared for today's. I came prepared for today's show with a new scroll. Untouchables on Good Morning CaneSport. Manny Diaz, Blake James, roster numbers because I don't want to hear it anymore. Please. I mean, I was watching back yesterday's show.
Oh, this orange shirt makes my face look orange. Look at me.
It was painful.
I look orange because of you.
Listen, it was painful, okay, that we're sitting there arguing for 20 minutes about roster numbers. So Manny Diaz, Blake James, roster numbers, and your Gator shirts are off limits for Good Morning CaneSport moving forward.
It's a crocodile shirt.
All right, but now listen. I'll add crocodile too if you want me to, but let me get back to the subject at hand that I was trying to address before you started cutting your logos on your shirts.
You forced me. You forced my hand. I didn't want to do that. I love that shirt. You ruined my wardrobe. This show ruined my. Good Morning Gator Sport ruined my wardrobe.
All right, back to what I was trying to talk about. Jesus. All right, listen. So I did some research yesterday. Of how Mario handles his coaching searches. Here's what I came up with. When he talks to a candidate.
And take the scroll off. Just take the scroll off.
When he talks to a candidate, okay, the first thing he does is he always makes sure he discusses in advance what the salary of the job would pay. Because he doesn't want to go through an interview process with a candidate, spend days vetting a guy, talking about it, talking to people about that candidate, then say, hey, I'm offering you $1 million and be told, oh, no, that's not going to get it done. It's got to be 1.5 million. Okay, so he gets that out of the way at the beginning. I found that out. Okay, the other thing I found out is he loves to talk to a lot of candidates. And listen, if you're an executive and you have an open job interviews are a license to get ideas. People have to come through the door. They have to sell you on themselves. And it's just a license to suck ideas out of people, thoughts out of people. Maybe they'll bring up things that you've never thought about, things like that. So good executives and good interviewers let people talk about themselves, ideas, make them sell themselves, make them make a presentation about why they should get that job. So that's another staple of Mario Cristobal coaching searches. Then number 3 that I learned was he never offers a job before he has been told in advance by the candidate that if you offer me this job at the agreed to salary level, it's already been discussed, you will take the job. So before he wastes hours and hours and hours interviewing and talking and all that, he likes to know going in that candidate will take the job if he offers it. Okay, fair. In the coaching business, not a bad practice. Now, obviously, you can aim for that. You can request that. You can make that a mandatory consideration of the job. And if the person that you're interviewing is playing games with you and says, oh, yeah, I'll take it, and doesn't really mean it, yeah, you can get played at times. But for the most part, these people are high salaried, highly skilled professionals. And at that point, they're probably not going to screw with each other.
Yeah, can I just jump in?
Just so you know, let me finish. No, you can't.
Well, but it's to the point of what you just said, but okay.
I'm going to let you in a minute. Let me just finish. So the point is that, like, if you're gauging interest of somebody and you're discussing what somebody might be paid for a job, that doesn't construe being offered the job, okay? And that doesn't give people and their agents a license to start going public and leaking that they are a leading candidate for a job so that they can then go try to get a raise from the school that they're at, like I believe Kendall Bryles just did, for example. So I just wanted to clear that up because I know people have been upset and there's been a lot of debate about it on the message boards, but this is a part of a process, and it's a process that Mario Cristobal has made habitual in his time as head coaches, first at FIU and now most recently at Oregon and now at Miami. And that is what we believe is playing out. And, those of you that are on our website, we have not reported a single offer in this process. And there's a reason for that. So I just wanted to clear that up. I believe that's the most accurate depiction of what's been going on. That's how the process is working. And, Matt, now, if you actually have an on-topic point that you would like to make to add to that conversation.
Why wouldn't it be on topic? I literally just told you a minute ago, exactly what you just said is what I want to comment on. So that's a weird thing to say. But yeah, what I'll add is, Gary, when it comes to the coaching search stuff, Gary has really impeccable sources. He and I have talked about it on a daily basis. Like, you guys can trust what he's telling you is true. The only thing I would add as an addendum to what he said previously, which I tried to bring in at that exact moment, because this does happen sometimes, where you will, Gary said sometimes you'll get played, rarely, which happens.
That can happen.
Sometimes when that happens, it's in essence, it's because just like any other job, right? Hey, we have an offer that we can give you for X amount of money. If we extend that offer, would you take it? The person says that would be acceptable, sure. And then obviously that's not a real job offer. So then eventually, if the job comes back and they say, listen, this is it, we're going to give you that offer. Then that person has to inform their program, hey, I'm leaving. And that program might say, hey, what if we give you a $250,000 raise? What if we give you a different title and a $500,000 raise? So that's when things can be.
It can fall apart. It's not a foolproof.
That's the only thing I would add is it's not quite as simple as, okay, they agreed to a verbal deal and then they're going to take it for sure. So that's the only other thing I'd add, because Gary may report in a week, this person now has an offer. And with what Gary had just said a minute ago, everyone would think, oh, okay, he's already agreed to it. So I just want to add that. So if that doesn't work, it could easily be because of that scenario. I just want to make sure people are aware of that. It's not like it was already a done deal the second Gary says, hey, he did get offered the job. So I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, and usually in a situation like this, like it's not a matter if you're talking about Miami offering somebody 1.2 million and the school they're at says we'll make it 1.3. That's usually not going to tilt the scale to somebody taking a job or not taking a job. So while what you're saying, Matt, I think
They could say, hey, you'll be the next head coach in waiting. You don't know. It just depends on the situation.
Yeah, there are things that could come up that could pollute the situation, absolutely. But I think it helps if, I like the idea personally of addressing salary before you even start, because what's the point of wasting your time interviewing somebody if this is what you can pay them and it's not good enough? It's not acceptable. And then you're just wasting your time. So I like that idea. And you get that out of the way at the beginning so that if you do offer the job, that it's already been discussed and the person knows exactly what they're going to get paid and what the terms of the deal will be. So, I think that's a good idea. But, we'll see what happens here going forward. I know Mario is working about 18 hours a day on recruiting. I don't know how the heck he could possibly have time to do interviews and screen coordinator candidates. I believe that his search is centralized right now on the National Football League. And, from an offensive standpoint, obviously you have a lot of quarterback coaches out there and things like that. I'm sure he's looking at those guys. There are good coaches in the NFL who are waiting for their breakthrough opportunity. It's not a bad place to search for a coach if you are looking for somebody who's going to be like the next best guy. It's easy to just limit yourself to coaches who have already crossed that threshold and have had coordinator jobs. But sometimes it's not bad to be the one that identifies somebody that's going to be a superstar and catch them as they're about to make that transition in their professional careers. So that's what we think is going on right now. We're not sure anymore what the timeline is. It does not look like it's going to happen in time for Elite Prospect Day tomorrow. But, once you get past that, there's really not a deadline on it. So we'll see what happens from there. All right, Matt, let's shift gears now to Elite Prospect Day. And wow, what a star-studded lineup of talent that is expected on campus. And we have a preview of all these kids and on the website this morning. I'll run through some of them very quickly. Ruben Bain, the defensive end from Miami Central, he's confirmed for us that he'll be on campus. American Heritage cornerback Damari Brown will be on campus. Miami Gulliver wide receiver Jalen Brown. Orlando Jones linebacker Malik Bryant is going to be on campus. Miami Killian safety Stanquan Clark, he'll be there. Damon Fagan from American Heritage safety, he's going to be there. Let's see, Santana Fleming, the wide receiver from American Heritage, he will be there. Mark Fletcher will be there. The running back from Heritage. Landon Hatchett, offensive lineman from Washington State, he's flying in for Elite Prospect Day. Brandon Innes, the 5-star wide receiver from American Heritage, is supposed to make an appearance. Andy Jean, the wide receiver from Miami Northwestern, he'll be there. Peyton Kirkland, an offensive lineman from Orlando, Dr. Phillips, he'll be in the house on Saturday. Just a whole bunch of kids here. Chance Robinson from St. Thomas Aquinas, Lamar Seymour from Miami Central, the Bobby Washington from Miami Killian. Robbie Washington, his brother from Killian, they'll be there. Jaden Wayne, strong side defensive end from Washington State as well, he's flying in. Aaron Williams, a cornerback from California, is flying in. Hakeem Williams, the wide receiver from Fort Lauderdale Stranahan. And these are just some of the kids. And last but certainly not least, Richard Young, the running back from Lehigh Acres, who to me is one of the must-gets in this class. If they can get Richard Young and Mark Fletcher, they are in unbelievable shape at running back for the next 3-4 years. And two very, very, very talented kids. So, and there's many, many more. So, Matt, the point is that it's an enormous list. And already you would have to say that this Elite Prospect Day, Junior Day, whatever you want to call it, is hugely successful for Mario Cristobal and the new staff. Have they invited too many kids?
Well, first of all, you've been talking forever, so I got to go back a little bit. You said Mario's working 18 hours a day on recruiting. From what I was told from a source very close to the situation, he's spending 16 hours of those days trying to figure out roster numbers and who he has to cut. No, I'm just kidding.
Excuse me. Did you read the scroll?
I'm not going back to that. So listen, He's not inviting. There's no such thing as inviting too many people. There's just on our list this morning, there's 14 kids from out of state, from California to Colorado to Tennessee. And there's going to be more that aren't big names. Those are just what we listed is basically the big name kids. There's going to be well over 100 kids roaming around the campus and having a good time. The key to me, and I just like to make things simple. The key to me is to convince Brandon Innes not to wait till signing day, to become a Hurricane and do it early. And the reason being, I don't know how many of you know Brandon Innes as a person, but he's gregarious. He's obviously a 5-star for a reason, but he's also gregarious. He's friends with all the top kids in South Florida, all of them, all the heritage kids. He wants to play with all of them. They all want to play with him. If you can get him on board and for him to start recruiting these kids to Miami, to me, that's the only thing that Miami has to do to be a national championship team in 4 years, because he'll bring 10 4- and 5-star kids with him. Like, I
can't believe I agree with you.
He'll be a better recruiter. Not that anyone's a better recruiter than Mario, but he'll be a better recruiter than Mario because he's a kid. He could say, we're going to have a great time together. He'll lay out the whole vision. Like, I've talked to Brandon this numerous times, and I can't tell you how impressed I am just by his presence, how he speaks. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys have this situation, but my older son, when I would talk to him when he was young, he felt like he was an adult, like he was older than me. Like, I would yell at him when he was little. He'd say, Dad, you have a real anger management problem, just like that. And this is like Brandon Innes. It just feels like you're talking to somebody who's smarter than you. And not that I'm smart. I guess maybe there's a lot of people smarter than me, but you get the sense he has this wisdom about him, and people are just drawn to him. And you've got to explain to him and convince him this is why you should stay here. Don't wait till signing day, which is what he told us he wants to do. Don't wait till signing day. Commit before your season, enjoy your senior season, and then get everyone to come here with you. That's so important. So it's great having everyone here, but Brandon Innes is the key to the whole kit and caboodle. Is that still a saying? Is that something that's only for like 80-year-olds? But that's the key to the whole kit and caboodle to me.
I can't believe I agree with you. I absolutely do. I think they need to get commitments early. And listen, kids like Brandon Innes, Mark Fletcher, these kids have traveled everywhere already, okay? Brandon Innes was already committed to freaking Oklahoma, okay? He doesn't need to go through a process for the next 9 months, 10 months, 11 months. Like, get committed, build something special at the U. This is an opportunity. 2023 is a banner recruiting year in South Florida. These prospects have an opportunity to build something special. The program's getting better. The recruiting is going to be good, not just in South Florida, outside of South Florida. This is an opportunity for all these kids to get together, commit to Miami, and build something special here where they can be Alabama and Georgia in a couple years contending for national titles. And I got to think that will be part of the message that Mario Cristobal delivers on Saturday. It's a big day. Really almost like a kickoff day. I know they've been, running crazy and recruiting and all that, but this 2023 class will be their first signature recruiting class, and it should be a really good one. It should be a top 5 class for sure. And Saturday is the chance to get a jump start and try to convince these kids to not go through the process for another 10 months and waste the opportunity to band together and help the coaching staff and the program build something special at the U. And we'll see what happens. We'll obviously have enormous coverage of it all through the weekend. And we'll see how successful they are in getting that message across. In the meantime, in addition to that preview, we've got a couple individual stories on the website this morning that I'll touch on here before we go today. There's a defensive end by the name of Carrington Lee from West Palm Beach Dwyer. He will be visiting as part of Elite Prospect Day. Lamar Seymour, who's a committed wide receiver from Miami Central, he's coming to Elite Prospect Day, getting to know the coaches. We have an update on him. And then there's a center from the state of Washington, Landon Hatchett, who's traveling in from out of town for Elite Prospect Day. He knows the coaches that were at Oregon because he visited Oregon several times, Alex Mirabal, Mario Cristobal. Now he's coming to see them at Miami and see what Miami's all about. And I know they feel very good about him as a center prospect, and that's why he's flying in. So bottom line, Matt, to sum it all up, enormous number of kids, a lot of great players, just a massive, massive recruiting weekend at Miami.
Yeah, and hey, you can just Venmo me the $60. I'm thinking about it. I don't need to put that shirt on my expense account. Just send me the Venmo. I'll just take Venmo. It's fine. But yeah, we'll have, like I said, it's going to be interesting because in the past, listen, you guys out there in the internet sphere, you don't really obviously know the inside and outs of how we do things. But in the past, when we've covered these events, and there's been several junior days every year that we cover, I would consider Paradise Camp a similar event to where just a ton of kids that are top kids wandering around the campus. And we're not allowed to talk to them on campus. That's an NCAA rule. And Miami enforces it. Good for them. Some schools maybe look the other way, but you don't want to get your school in trouble, obviously. So what we can be is we can be in the public right away, which is generally the street. So if you see a reporter standing in the middle of the street, try not to hit us. If you want to be one of the people gawking from the side at Elite Prospect Day. But generally what we do is we'll ask a kid, hey, do you have a minute to talk on the way in? And obviously we're not going to ask a kid that if a coach is there, because it's the coach's time to really bond with the kid and let the kid know how wanted he is at the University of Miami and that sort of thing. And I was telling Gary the other day, I said, listen, this might be a whole different animal because in the past when we've covered these events, there's not a coach in sight. These kids park with their parents. They walk up the street because you can't park right at the facility because there's a million people coming. It's hard to even get a spot. And as the kids walk up, you say, hey, you got a minute to talk, whatever. You have your interview, you're done. I said to Gary the other day, I said, listen, with this new staff, they might be in the street with us, these coaches, like waiting for every car, waving their arms, jumping up and down, chest bumping the mom and the dad. Who knows? So we may not even get a single interview. We may just have video of the coaches celebrating at each car. I don't know what Mario's going to do. I'm excited to see if it's any different, if they're going to be out there sort of with us waiting for the kids, or if they're just in the background, in the building, which is what the old staffs did, which is fine either way. If the coaches aren't out there, it's fine. There's so many kids coming. It's hard for them to greet everybody, obviously. But I'm very interested to see the setup, how Mario runs it, especially with sort of a skeleton crew, because obviously the whole staff's not there. We know that. So he may not be able to do this event quite the same way he will future events. But it's still exciting to see something new and different and what it's going to look like. So I think, to me, I'm as excited to see if they have a banner in front, if they have somebody out greeting every kid, whatever it may be, what event they have inside, what presentation they give. If the new strength coach, shaves his mustache in front of everybody for a wow effect, that's not happening. But just whatever they do, it's going to be interesting. Because in the past, the big highlight, I talked to kids, they'd be like, oh, the greatest thing was David Cooney making jokes up on the stage and dancing around or something, like he was the DJ. That's really not something that makes parents say, oh, this program's serious about having my kid become an NFL player and learn and be a good student and become a great player. It's great for the camaraderie. It's great to feel like it's a family. But now you got to do everything. This is a different era for Miami recruiting. You got to do everything. You got to have the David Cooney making kids feel welcome and having fun, but you also have to have the presentation and that atmosphere of seriousness for the parents, where it's not just fun and games and playing. What were they playing? They were playing some weird games the last event we went to in July. I can't remember what it was, but
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's not just a pool party where the coaches are barely talking to kids, and it's not what's that toss game where you toss the bags and the whole cornhole. It's not cornhole anymore.
They were playing cornhole.
Yeah,
they had all kinds of stuff going on.
Right. With Mario, you and I know Mario very well from when he was here. This is going to be a serious event. There will be moments of fun for sure, but it's going to be a serious event where he lays out the plan for the parents, because he knows the parents are the key. Lays out the plan for parents. This is what we will do for your child at the University of Miami. This is why your child should stay home, or this is why your child should come from California and not stay on the West Coast. This is our vision for all of you. And I'm so excited to hear the feedback that we get. We won't be in there because we're not allowed to be, but the feedback we get is going to be really interesting to see. So I highly suggest to all of you stay tuned for that. On probably some kids will show up Friday because they can't come Saturday, but then the ones that come Saturday, that's really the main event. Obviously, is Saturday's Elite Day. So,
all right, that's going to do it for Good Morning CaneSport. We're going to go get ready for Elite Prospect Day, and I'm sure a bunch of other things that are going to take place this weekend. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. We thank you for joining us today. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back on Monday morning with another Good Morning CaneSport. Goodbye, everybody.